2000 to 2003, worldwide recognition. In 2000, Ed Harris directed Connelly in the biopic Pollock, in which she played Ruth Kligman, Jackson Pollock's mistress. Pollock received mostly positive reception, according to review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. In the same year, she appeared as Catherine Miller in the Fox drama series The Street, about a brokerage house in New York. She appeared in Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream, based on the novel of the same name by Hubert Selby Jr. Connelly was drawn to the script for its depiction of addiction and its effects on relatives. She played Marion Silver, the girlfriend of Harry, Jared Leto. The film also starred Marlon Wayans and Ellen Burstyn. Marion is a middle-class girl from Manhattan Beach who pursues the dream of establishing a dress shop, but becomes addicted to heroin and descends into a life of prostitution. Connelly prepared for the role by renting an apartment in the building where the character lived. Connelly isolated herself, painted, listened to music that she considered that her character would, designed clothes, and used the time to reflect about addictions and their origin. Connelly also talked to addicts and attended Narcotics Anonymous meetings with a friend who was in recovery. The cast garnered critical acclaim for their portrayal of physical and mental degradation. The critic Elvis Mitchell wrote in the New York Times, "Miss Connelly, too, whittled herself down to a new weight class, and it's her performance that gives the movie weight, since her fall is the most precipitous. By the end, when she curls into a happy fetal ball with a furtive smile on her face, she has come to love her debasement. Her dank realization is more disturbing than anything in the novel. And Ms. Connelly has never before done anything to prepare us for how good she is here." Also in 2000, Connelly appeared in Waking the Dead, based on the 1986 novel of the same name, playing Sarah Williams, an activist killed by a car bomb in Minneapolis while she was driving Chilean refugees. Initially, director Keith Gordon was reluctant to cast Connelly in this role, as he did not consider her a serious actress. Her agent Risa Shapiro persuaded him to watch Connelly's performance in Far Harbor. Gordon later said, "There was a subtlety and depth even to her gaze that captured more of the relationship than I ever could have hoped for." About her role, Connelly said, "Waking the Dead was the first film I worked on where whatever I did felt like my own thing. I was really trying to make something of the part and threw myself into it, so that meant a lot to me." The New York Times described her performance as Sarah. Miss Connelly captures a burning ethereality and willfulness that are very much of the period, and she and Mr. Crudup connect powerfully in love scenes that convey the fierce tenderness of a relationship whose passion carries a tinge of religious fervor. The script of Ron Howard's 2001 biopic A Beautiful Mind, loosely based on Sylvia Nassar's 1998 biography of the mathematician John Nash, sparked her interest in the project. Connelly was invited to an audition after Shapiro sent the producers a tape with a clip of the then unreleased Requiem for a Dream. She was cast by producer Brian Grazer as Alicia Nash, the caring and enduring wife of schizophrenic man John Nash, played by Russell Crowe. Howard and the producers eventually chose Connelly and Crowe due to their on-screen chemistry. Connelly met the real Alicia Nash before filming commenced to learn about her life. Upon release, A Beautiful Mind was a critical and commercial success, grossing more than US $313 million worldwide. For her performance, Connelly earned a Golden Globe, an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, and a BAFTA for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Time magazine critic Richard Schickel called her performance luminous and the actress intelligent and passionate. Roger Ebert wrote, "Jennifer Connelly is luminous as Alicia. Although the showier performance belongs to Crowe, it is Connelly's complex work, depicting a woman torn by love for and fear of the same man, that elevates the film to a higher level." L.O. Scott of the New York Times said, "There is for one thing Mims. Connelly keen and spirited in the underwritten role of a woman who starts out as a math groupie and soon finds herself the helpmeet of a disturbed, difficult man." Connelly said afterwards, "A Beautiful Mind is the film I'm really proud of and really love." In relation to previous roles, Connelly said, "There was a period where I felt like I wasn't quite being considered for the projects that I wanted to work on because maybe people were thinking, I'm not going to cast the girl who was in that movie for this adult project. I felt for a long time that this is what I want to do, so I'm happy at this point to just take my time and work on projects that I feel really strongly about, and the rest of the time just live my life." Connelly starred in Ang Lee's Hulk, 2003, because she was interested in his philosophical perspective on the Marvel Comics superhero. She played Betty Ross, a scientist and the former girlfriend of the main character, Bruce Banner. The film was a moderate success. Next, in 2003, she appeared in House of Sand and Fog, a drama based on the novel by André Dubus, I. She portrayed Kathy Niccolo, an abandoned wife whose inherited house is sold at auction to the Iranian emigre and former Colonel Masoud Amir Barani, Ben Kingsley. After reading the script, Connelly said, "The story is moving and beautifully written. I liked the fact that there is no good guy and bad guy. I found it really compelling that both sides do things that are morally questionable, because life is often like that." Producer Michael London said about Connelly's portrayal, "I think she understood Kathy and knew in her bones that she could take this character and give her the kind of dimension that she had. I don't think there is another actress who could have played Kathy with such power and grace." The film was critically acclaimed, with a BBC critic commenting, "Connelly convinces totally as a selfish, desperate and lonely woman who confesses to her brother, 'I just feel lost.'" 2004 to 2009, hiatus and return to film. Connelly in 2005, after a 2-year absence from the film scene, Connelly returned in the 2005 horror psychological thriller Dark Water, which was based on a 2002 Japanese film of the same name. She played Dahlia, a frightened young woman traumatized by her past, who moves with her daughter to an apartment in New York City where paranormal happenings take place. In his review, critic Roger Ebert wrote, "I cared about the Jennifer Connelly character. She is not a horror heroine, but an actress playing a mother faced with horror. There is a difference, and because of that difference, Dark Water works." She played Kathy Adamson in an adaptation of the novel Little Children alongside Kate Winslet, a film which focuses on the relationship between Sarah Pierce, played by Winslet, and Brad Adamson, Patrick Wilson. Connelly co-starred in Blood Diamond opposite Leonardo DiCaprio, where she portrayed journalist Maddie Bowen, who is working on exposing the real story behind blood diamonds. New York Magazine praised her performance. Connelly is such a smart, sane, and histrionic actress that she almost disguises the fact that her character is a wheeze. Both Little Children and Blood Diamond were nominated for multiple Academy Awards. Her next appearance was as Grace in the drama Reservation Road with Joaquin Phoenix and Mark Ruffalo, released in 2007. After her son dies in a hit and run, Grace gradually tries to overcome her grief, while her husband Ethan, Phoenix, becomes obsessed with discovering who killed him. By her own account, the character she played in the film proved tougher than any of her previous roles. USA Today's Susan Washgren commented, "The strong performances of Jennifer Connelly and Mark Ruffalo raised the film above overheated melodrama." Connelly portrayed astrobiologist Helen Benson alongside Keanu Reeves in the 2008 remake of the 1951 science fiction film, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Unlike the original, in which Benson was a secretary and her relationship with Klaatu was the focus, the remake featured Benson in a troubled relationship with her stepson, portrayed by Jaden Smith. This was followed by a role in the 2009 romantic comedy drama, He's Just Not That You, which also featured Jennifer Aniston and Ginnifer Goodwin. The film was based on the self-help book of the same name. Variety magazine praised her portrayal. Connelly gives a really rich performance as a woman whose principles back her into a corner. In 2009, she appeared in the costume drama Biopic Creation, in which she played Emma Darwin, wife of Charles Darwin, opposite her real-life husband Paul Bettany. Set during the writing of On the Origin of Species. The film depicts Darwin's struggle with the subject of the book as well as with his wife, who opposed his theories, and their mourning for their daughter Anne. The San Francisco Chronicle wrote, Darwin's wife, a religious woman who disapproved of her husband's theories, is played by Jennifer Connelly, Bettany's real-life wife, in the kind of casting that doesn't always work, but it does here. We believe in the Darwin's history together, their familiarity and affection. Connelly's English accent is also as good as Renée Zellweger's and Gwyneth Paltrow's. She doesn't get just the sounds right, but also the music and the attitude. Connelly then voiced the character named Seven, an adventurous warrior in the animated film 9. 2010 present. Dustin Lance Black's Virginia premiered on September 15, 2010 at the Toronto International Film Festival. 2 years later, it received a limited release in May 2012. Connelly portrayed the title role of Virginia, a mentally unstable woman who has a 20-year affair with the local sheriff, whose daughter then starts a relationship with Virginia's son. Connelly prepared for the role by watching documentaries on schizophrenia. She also spent time at the New York State Psychiatric Institute and the New York University Cancer Center to understand the affections and obstacles of her character. During preparation, Black requested Connelly's advice to design the set of Virginia's house, as well as the selection of the apparel to create the character's style. Connelly said of the film, "It's very original, I think, and a very different independent film. It's very personal." According to the critic from Cinema Blend, Virginia is propped up by a strong central performance, with Connelly doing some of her best work in years. Connelly in 2019. In 2011, Connelly starred in Ron Howard's comedy, The Dilemma with Vince Vaughn. Although the Austin Chronicles review wrote Vaughn nails it, and his nicely nuanced, every guy performance is aided by the always excellent Connelly. 108. The film opened to generally negative reviews. Variety magazine remarked, "Connelly, though a shade looser and more spontaneous than usual, seems stuck at an emotional remove from the action." Her next project, George Ratliff's Salvation Boulevard, premiered during the 2011 Sundance Film Festival. In the film, Connelly played Gwen, the wife of Carl Vanderveer, Greg Kinnear. The couple are members of the Church of the Third Millennium, led by Pastor Dan Pierce Brosnan. During the same year, Connelly recorded an audiobook version of Paul Baal's The Sheltering Sky that was released in March 2012 as part of Audible.com's The A-List collection. Her next project, starring alongside Greg Kinnear, was the family drama Stuck in Love, the directorial debut of Josh Boone. Connelly played the ex-wife of Kinnear's character, with whom he is obsessed. The film was premiered during the 2012 Toronto International Film Festival. In 2015, Connelly starred in Shelter, the directorial debut by her husband Paul Bettany. Connelly had a role in the 2014 film adaptation of the 1983 Mark Helper novel, Winter's Tale, the directorial debut of Akiva Goldsman, alongside Colin Farrell, William Hurt, and Russell Crowe, as well as starring in the English-speaking directorial debut of Claudia Lusa, Aloft. Working again in collaboration with A Beautiful Mind co-star Russell Crowe, she portrayed Name in Darren Aronofsky's 2014 biblical epic Noah. The film opened to favorable reviews. The Washington Post declared Connelly and Crowe's performances impressively grounded, powerful. The Denver Post felt that Connelly portrayed the role with fine intelligence. Variety deemed her appearance solid but underused, while Detroit News stated Connelly has too little to do, but when she lets go, she hits hard. IndieWire wrote that Connelly conveyed the role with a steady hand, while St. Paul Pioneer Press defined her interpretation as compelling. Connelly starred in the television series Snowpiercer, 2020 to 2024, her first role in television since the cancellation of The Street in 2000. Working again with director Joseph Kosinski, Connelly portrayed Penelope Penny Benjamin in the action blockbuster film Top Gun: Maverick, which released in 2022 after a series of delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Personal life: a brown-haired woman signs autographs for fans. She wears a red dress. Behind her there is a blonde man in a suit. The woman and the man are facing a crowd of fans. While filming The Rocketeer, Connelly began a romance with her co-star Billy Campbell. They became engaged but broke up in 1996 after 5 years together. Connelly then had a relationship with photographer David Dugan, with whom she has a son, born in 1997. On January 1st, 2003, in a private family ceremony in Scotland, she married actor Paul Bettany, whom she had met while working on A Beautiful Mind. They have 2 children, a son, born in 2003, and a daughter, born in 2011. After living together in Tribeca, she and Bettany moved to Brooklyn Heights. Charity work. On November 14th, 2005, Connelly was named Amnesty International Ambassador for Human Rights Education. She appeared in an advertisement highlighting the global need for clean water and sought donations for African, Indian, and Central American drilling projects for the non-profit organization Charity Water. On May 2nd, 2009, she participated in Revlon's annual 5,000-run walk for women. In May 2012, Connelly was named ambassador for Save the Children Fund to advocate for children's rights in the United States and worldwide.